Thanks for your time today, Home Secretary. There's been a whole lot of measures announced today. What do you expect the impact on net migration is going to be? And has there been any sort of assessment within government as to that?
Well, the purpose of this immigration white paper is to restore control and order to the immigration system after the chaos that we've had for a long time. Also, to bring down net migration substantially, but to make sure as well that the rules are properly respected and enforced, and also to make sure that those who come to the UK are contributing and also able to speak English. So this will lead to a substantial reduction in net migration. We had the figure, it could quadrupled under the Conservatives in the space of just 4 years. And we saw overseas recruitment go up at the same time as training in the UK went down. That's a broken and failing system. And that's why these plans are about making sure that we boost training here at home, as well as introducing the visa controls and the restrictions in the immigration system as well.
So, do you have any sort of target by which you'd hope to see immigration falling off the back of today's measures?
Well, the numbers of visas that we're issuing is already coming down. The returns that we're carrying out are already going up. We've had a 20% increase in enforced returns already since the general election as a result of the changes that we've brought in. We've got some of the measures, the reduction in the low-skilled worker visas and care worker visas together add up to 50,000 fewer visas being issued of those kinds of visas. But we also have a series of other measures, including on workforce strategies, including the impact of the changes to English language, including the impact on settlement, that go considerably further than that as well. So this is a series of different measures to make sure that net migration is coming down, to make sure that we get control back into the system, but crucially to make sure that we're also providing the training and the skills here in the UK, because that's what's just been missing for far too long. I think we've had this free market experiment from the Conservatives, just a kind of free-for-all where employers were able to recruit from abroad very widely, but not actually provide the training and the skills here at home that we needed. And that's why we've got to change this. That's why we've got to have these new controls in place.
One thing that you've announced today is that you'll be bringing forward legislation to stop kind of overuse of Article 8 in British courts. Now, say you bring forward that legislation, what happens if the ECHR tries to enforce Article 8?
Well, the changes that we're going to introduce are about making it much clearer the way that family rules should be interpreted, because really the system has got too complex and too confused. And as a result, too often policies are being driven by individual decisions in the courts rather than having a proper, clear framework of rules. That's why we need a new clear framework of rules around family and around the way that the system should work, because that's how we'll have a fair system in place for everyone.
So, if the ECHR ruled against the government in a case involving Article 8, would the government go against that ruling and disobey the ECHR?
So we already have a series of cases where we take action through the courts and make sure that we defend our decisions. But the problem is the system has become too complicated. And so at the moment, decisions are being made often on the basis of a series of ad hoc or individual court decisions rather than on the basis of the clear family rules. So we think it's right to respect international law, because that's how we get agreements in place with other countries that help us reduce migration and help us tackle criminal gangs, but also to make sure that those international laws are being interpreted in the right way, in a way that Parliament recognises and says is fair.
Have all these measures been costed in terms of the cost to administer them?
Well, we already have an immigration system which sets out a series of controls in place, but we're strengthening those controls. And we're also introducing we're introducing a higher level for the immigration skills charge. So we're increasing the amount of money that employers who recruit from abroad will need to now pay in, so that we can invest in the skills and training here in the UK. We've got to have those controls in place. We've got to end the chaos of the last 5 years that we've had from the Conservatives, get the controls in place, but also get that investment from employers so they're properly investing in training here at home.
So that investment in skills and training, is that going to be fully covered by that increased charge?
So the immigration skills charge will now be increased. It hasn't been increased for years. And we think it's right that employers who are recruiting from abroad actually should be investing here at home. That hasn't happened for far too long. We need to make sure that we get that investment in place, that we get those training and skills here in the UK. We've got this crazy situation where engineering visas increased in the last few years at the same time as engineering apprenticeships were cut. We need to reverse that and make sure that we've got that investment taking place into the skills and training here at home.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.